Okay, here we go again, everybody. This one's been requested, so I hope you're happy. Ari's on vacation. I stole his Tuono. Yeah. This commute's probably going to be better than usual. Oh, yep. Okay. Let's bring the thunder. I just never get sick of that sound. I'm sure the people in this neighborhood don't mind. They're probably like, how come my face is having an orgasm all of a sudden? I didn't realize. Maybe it's that noise. That lovely, lovely noise. Okay. Okay, gotta focus now. Gotta talk about stuff that'll actually be helpful and interesting. So Tuono V4, been around for a handful of years now, but the 1100 is obviously kind of big news because it went from 999 cc's to 1077, and when you add, what is that, 8% displacement, what you get is something like 8% more power and more ridiculousness. And boy, I'll tell you, this bike did not need more power and more ridiculousness, but that is what it got. And I'm not sad about it. It still has a lot of the stuff that the old bike had, which we really liked. It's got the quick shifter, it's got the full suite of APRC electronics, you know, the flat handlebar, the RSV4 looking headlight and sort of aesthetics, and all that stuff is just as sexy and interesting and cool and Italian as it's ever been, and for that I am thankful. Aside from the sound of the Tuono, that just adrenaline pumping noise comes out of the exhaust, which is so just intoxicating, is the ergonomics. It feels much more like, I just did the Super Duke, right? And I boast about how comfortable it is. The Tuono is pretty comfortable, but really it's comfortable compared to an RSV4 or compared to a super bike of some kind. It's pretty aggressive, and what's interesting is it's much different than the Super Duke. The legroom, it has about an inch less legroom between the seat and the foot pegs. The bars are about 2 inches lower than the Super Duke, and it's also a little bit longer reach to the handlebar. And what that amounts to is a much more aggressive riding position. It really feels sporty. You feel like you're sort of pitched forward toward the dash a little bit, much more like a sport bike. Even though it has the tall flat handlebar, it's much more aggressive than some other standard nakeds. It's not necessarily a bad thing, the aggressive ergonomics. It's cool if that's what you want. This thing rips around a racetrack, for example. That's what happens when you're based on an RSV4. This is the best part though, right here. Leaving a red light. I really just don't even know how to describe what that feels like. It's so cool. Oh my god, it has this pure energy that you just feel like you're sticking a needle into a exploding star or something like that, and just harnessing this energy. It's so powerful, but it's just so smooth, and it feels like you'll never get to the rev ceiling. It's just like, ah man, it pulls so smoothly. You can carry these like 1-inch high wheelies for what feels like 300 yards. It's so cool. And the quick shifter is butter. The quick shifter works super well when you're hard on the gas, which of course is when the quick shifter is supposed to work well. Sometimes when you're around town and you're at static throttle and you hit the quick shifter, you get a little herky jerk in the system, but it's really not that big a deal. I mean, it still works. It's also, I mean, it's a difficult art to get the quick shifter to work 100% perfectly no matter what throttle position you're at. It's tricky. This one's very, very good. Yeah, this is where the Tuono lives, in corners like this, man. So good. The handling is just flawless. Yikes. This is worse than usual. What's going on, people? Oh, you see that sign? That's very helpful. Can you guys read it? It says test. That's probably what happened. The sign read test, and everyone said, let's slow down. There's a test coming up, and I'm not ready. Tuono is pretty comfortable on the highway. We've talked about this before, but the leaning forward a little bit actually helps. You know, around town it can feel a little aggressive. I mean, the Tuono is not very aggressive. You're never going to feel like, oh man, my wrists are cramping up because I'm leaning forward so much. It's not like sport bike aggressive. And yet when you get on the highway, you're leaning forward just enough that you can sort of lean into the wind, and it feels good. You can definitely ride this bike all day and be comfortable. Look out. And a Vulcan S. Crushing it. I mean, you know, in the middle of an off-ramp here, and it's just sublime. The handling is so good. I feel like you could be at this point in the video thinking, you haven't really talked about what it feels like to go through a corner, or what it feels like when you hit the brakes. It's just, it feels like you want a motorcycle to feel. That's how it feels. It just feels stable and super light to the touch, and the brakes are just very progressive, very strong, just like you want them to feel if you designed a motorcycle. Yeah, I'm looking at the dash, and I'm remembering this bike does have a fair number of sort of idiosyncrasies. I like the little two-color screen and the analog tack. I mean, that is what you want, especially on a performance bike, but even in general, just analog tacks are so satisfying. There's definitely lots of stuff with the interface that you have to get used to, though, on a Tuono, on any Aprilia, really. I mean, it has a button here that says mode, and we come up to a stop here. We can play with the mode button. If I hit the mode button, nothing actually happens. If I hit left on the mode button, it takes me to the menu. If I hit left again on the mode button, it goes back to the screen. If I hit right on the mode button, I go to the menu. So it doesn't really do mode at all, does it? If you hold down mode, the trip meter resets. If you tap the starter button, the actual mode changes. So really, maybe the starter button should say mode, and this should say menu, because if you hold that button down, it gets to the menu. It's a little bit Italian, I guess, is the word that I would use. It does have these bitchin' little paddles down here, the plus-minus paddles that you can use with these fingers, and that allows you to change APRC modes, which is really cool. But, you know, I don't know, maybe it's all designed by accident, or maybe it's designed to make you feel like you're part of the club, you know? Part of an exclusive Tuono club. Speaking of being part of an exclusive club, one of the things that I really like about the Tuono is that it's a halo bike. It's a dream bike. It's whatever, $15,000. I think you can get one for a little under 15 actually. I think this one's 14.6. That's a lot of money. But it's not like, you know, it's not Panigale R money. It's not insane money. But it's a dream bike from every other perspective. It's just cool. It embodies what every other naked bike wants to be. I mean, someone with a CB500F or something, what they dream about is a Tuono. They go to the webpage and they look at it and they think, oh man, I wish, maybe someday. Sideways. I like that about the Tuono, that it's drool worthy, you know? Motorcycling needs bikes like this. I wish it had more steering lock. Man, that gets on my nerves. Motorcycling needs bikes like the Tuono. There need to be bikes that you go to the website just to look at the stats and drool over it. I mean, how is that legal? It's a damn cool motorcycle. Damn cool. I don't really know what else to say about that. I'll just spend most of my day thinking about the ride home, I guess. Radness, Aprilia. Pure radness. See you guys next time.